Myself, Sir R.S. Pagar, PhD in Chemistry, GMD Arts, W Commerce and Science College, Chennai. I want to teach the TYBC students containing TYBC. There is a industrial chemistry is one of the subject included in University of Pune in their syllabus. Now, their second chapter is the agrochemicals. Agrochemical industry is one of the very big industries. Remember, in India is there. As compared to the whole world, there is the fourth country is there in the form of the agriculture industries. Very large scale and there is a modern types of the agriculture industries. Like in the comparison of the whole world, big agriculture industries are there. Agrochemicals, it containing pesticide and fertilizer. I remember in the form of the crop production. This is one of the challenge you remember in the 21st century is there by the more population in the India, near 30 crores of the peoples. That is the need of the very large scale need of that have to be available in the form of the agriculture industries are there. This production or the yield of the foods, grains that should have to be increased with the help of the number of types of the agrochemicals that also role is to be there in agriculture industries. We remember increase there is the yield of the products. Now you remember in the scope of the agrochemical industry today it is one of the progressive industries by using science and technology is to be more possible. In our countries there number of the processing industries, number of types of there is a universities are there with respect of the agriculture universities. That always to remember to help for the number of types of the innovative ideas, number of technological ideas that have to be used, and it has always to give the more of the preference to increase the yield of the crops as well. Fruits is there. Now in the United States, Japan and China is one of the very agricultural industries are there. Our India is to be fourth scale agrochemical industries. That now we consider in the economy also to remember in the agriculture is to be very important part. India is near about the 125 technical manufacturers, 800 farmers, 1 lakh thousands of the distributor, 60 technical grade pesticide. Yeah, there is a millions of the peoples works on this agriculture industries. Here you consider in 70% Indian peoples have depends by the agriculture industries. So it is very big in the economy also. Whole economic in India is by the so this is very important. The good agricultural products are there. So remember, so that also exporting other country also very good quality of the product is take their like the proper growth, proper quality. So that also India that have to be remember very reputed countries to be there. Production is to be very good and good quality of the grains and fruits also. Now we consider by in agrochemical industries toxic, as well as number of types of the agrochemicals which are very used in the bulk storage, bulk scale storage, transportation, as well as how the goods. So one of the risks are there. But how you consider this industry have to be types of the controls in government also. The production is to be for. What about the toxicity of that product? Where is the storage are there? How all the systems that have to be like to presence of the each and every industries that is to be available. Government is always given there is a permission. All the system have to be very systematic. That also available very easily. And then it get the permissions. You remember their approval of the that. So I consider it is very significant. That is the role of the, you remember, in the government agencies also. There is no misuse also, that also get the control. Their proper storage is also important, as well as their facility labeling, as well as there also the equipments are using, what are the procedure are like, what are the safety per instrument are have to be using. It also have to be get in their standard. The WHO is also given some of the guideline, and in that guideline that have to be always to be obeyed, or it is a 100% that have to be followed by agrochemical industry. Now the scope of the agrochemical, Indian manufacturer and exporter following agrochemicals, insecticide, fungicide, herbicide, plant growth regulators, nematicides, rodenticide. These number of types of the pesticide have to be made. We consider this also have to be, there is a number of reputed industries are there. Reputed phosphorus, where inside India is India Limited, Agrochemicals, Syngenta India Limited. These are some very reputed international companies. Production of the agrochemicals. You remember, 80% market it is to be recovered in the form of the, you remember, by these are industries you consider. What are the trends are there in the this is pesticide industry? Market trends, this also have to be remembered. Which is the requirement in the market is there, that also have to be remembered. Then it can be seen to the their technology trends. What about the technology that have to use with help of the R&D? And then this technology is important to the manufacturing of the very reputed as well as very good quality of the pesticide that have to be used. What is the technology that have to be made with respect to the environmental as well as some safety as well as all the precautions that have to be taken? Then it also have to be remembered technology trends, growth, forecast and drivers. Means you remember this is also the depends upon the monsoon also, as well as in the atmospheric changes that also have to be considered, and this is also the demands of the that availability are there. How this can be exported in horticulture and floriculture process that have to be used, as well as awareness is also have to be increased by their market policy is also important, as well as what are the challenges are in the agrochemical agriculture industries. You remember that challenges are generally the R&D is also have to be not have to be like as compared to the another countries. R&D is to be some of the weaknesses are there. This should be improve their weaknesses because the final cost of the product it is to be very large. This should be reduced. Techniques as well as that is the modified instruments, modified seeds are there. So the sometimes there is also the problem. Those seeds which are have to be like to invented in the form of the R&D department, but this is not get the good quality, not germinated proper. then that time the that R&D is to be not get the good types of the seeds which is not available to the farmers. This is also the some types of the weaknesses you remember in country is there. Need for efficient distribution. Distribution is not proper. Some part is more availability, some part is not more availability. This is the challenges. You remember, good distribution facilities should be available, as well as this is the management's you consider support in the surrounding all of the side of the sources that also get in. Remember, organic farming is today the trends are there. You consider challenge are there because in the organic farming there is no pesticide are using, and then also one of the day by day the trends of the farmers, it can also divert it the organic farming, and then that time also the some types of the there is a effect can be occur. Production of the you consider in the pesticide industries are always there. Also remember, so this is the very good quality, very less toxic, less side effect. That also have to be manufactured. Otherwise, farmer, which is always to be turned, but the organic farming, that is to be more preference will be there. Now, what are the key opportunities? Scope for increasing uses. Now, generally 35 to 40% of the total farmland under crop rotation by educating farmers, conducting special training programs are there. So that should be there, conducted. Farmers have to be more and more, you remember, as to be the awareness with respect of the this type of the challenges that should be there. You consider huge export potential. This is also have to be there, as well as in that time there is a perfect opportunity to increase the export. Export should be there for export. Cost of the product, that also have to be in the control, as well as expiry is also considered. Those types of product have to be by the pesticide. That also gets some of the limitation. Some of the there also have to be limits of the time that have to be used. It also have to be at their proper distribution. It should be required, as well as patent is also one of the today there. There is a pesticide industry that have to be required by the patent. Good reputation of that industries, as well as in India is also there. How much patent can like to be occur by pesticide industries? They need to get the permission by to export. You remember by their product you consider. Now the pesticides generally it can be defined in the form of the this is the words are there. Kill or to destroy the pest of the material. This is to be destroyed or by any types of the organism, and that is used as the pesticide. Hence, pesticide is any agent has a capacity to kill or end in the form of the there is a insect, as well as there is also the some microorganism that's supposed to be destroyed. DDT, BSE, malathion, parathene, 4D. These are the number of chemicals which are using to stimulate, as well as they are also retarding the growth of the plants, for desiccating plants, for repelling insect, for attracting insect, and sterilizing insect are also included among pesticides. You remember, it has to be classified in the different type: insecticide, herbicide, fungicide, rodenticide, plant growth regulator, bactericides, nematocide. These are some types of the example that have to be there to included by the pesticide the industries. You remember. Now I would like to discuss one by one with respect of the all. There is a type pesticides that have to be formulated, that like to be used, and how they are using. What are there is a conditions which used by this type of the pesticide. Discuss on the next times. Okay, thank you.